Live from the Mainstream Cannabis Media Empire, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Veedverks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks.
I'm Michael Miller, National Director for PanaceaLife.com, CBD manufacturer in Boulder, Colorado. Looks like it's my turn to flub it in the beginning this week.
Yeah. You want to try it again?
Yeah, I know. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to? It's up to you. You're in charge.
I just want to know if it's called CBD or CDB.
Did I say CDB?
I think that's where you get messed up.
No, I'm dyslexic. Even in my head. Of course it's in my head, right?
Hi, what's up, Bubba, Julie, Camino, thanks for joining. Today we're here with Brad Menard from the Plug Supply.
Hey, guys.
Hey, glad to have you here, Brad.
Glad to be here, guys.
I've been looking forward to this. You're one of the rising stars in the hemp, CBD, and raw goods industry.
You know what? I'm very privileged and honored to work with a great team. We went through a lot together, and we've all got to this point together, and I'm very thankful for everybody that's a part of the Plug Supply, as well as everybody that supported us along the way.
So before hemp, CBD, marijuana, what have you, what did you do prior?
I was a blacksmith farrier.
What is that?
So I would travel around to different ranches on a day-to-day basis and custom fabricate shoes to put on horses' feet.
Really?
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
First. That's great.
But before that, I used to sell Kirby vacuums. So even before that.
So you're a closer.
Yeah.
They teach you good when you do vacuums.
Yeah, the door-to-door sales is a very eye-opening experience. It kind of opened up my mind outside of the world of going to work and getting that hourly wage kind of thing, and being a little bit more in control of your own destiny. Right. So Kirby vacuum sales was a huge benefit that led to the horseshoeing, which led to what we're doing now. So
wow.
Yeah.
This is the second time I've heard about Kirby vacuums in the last week.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They are the best. They are the best.
I don't know.
You might look old school, but that thing, I'm telling you what, if you have a product that is the best product, it's a lot easier to sell.
Right.
Yeah.
My mom always liked Electrolux.
Oh, gosh.
Another door-to-door.
Yeah.
Did you ever leave the vacuums with the lady and let her have it for a week or no?
No, we never
did that. They used to back in the day.
Yeah.
Electrolux or Kirby?
Probably Electrolux. Yeah. They'd leave it there for a week or two. The wife would be, or lady would be in their vacuum, and she's not about to give up her vacuum after a week or two.
Yeah. No, we usually we got it done at the mattress test as well as the comparison. Oh, yeah? And that's why I truly believe that if you have the best product or service, it's a lot easier to sell. And you're not selling it; you're just telling people what it is.
Right.
And so that's how I felt with Kirby.
So, tell everybody the extent of what the Plug Supply does. You guys are really involved. Just going to your website, you do just about everything. So, could you give people a sense of where all you touch the industry?
Yeah. So, I started my unicorn chase. Last January, I would say. Somebody asked me for CBD isolate. Luckily, 2 weeks into it, I was privileged to and blessed to find a reputable source for the unicorn. And, that was Ecolabs. They do a great job in many facets. And so I would show up, every Sunday. I'd meet them in Vail, where they would deliver from Grand Junction in my horseshoeing truck. I'd show up Monday morning for breakfast and deliver 25 kilos of isolate in my horseshoeing clothes, and then I'd probably go off and shoe horses for the rest of the week because I couldn't buy any more. And then after the summer, we eventually got burned for about $400,000 buying CBD isolate that turned out to be maltodextrin sugar, and that experience led us to figure out we were selling seeds at the time and consulting on some seeds, but historically people were like, here's the seeds and good luck. We hope that you do well. Hopefully we'll buy your product at the fall. And so outside of, trying to figure out a way to get directly connected to a lab so we never lost that kind of money again, we decided to create a service for the in-between, not just the seeds and genetic sale, not just extraction, but what's in between that. And that has a lot to do with your propagation program, your planting program, your cultivation, your male remediation program to ensure that your field doesn't get pollinated,
Sure.
as well as maintaining the quality at 10% or higher, which a lot of it has to do with the harvest and the post-harvest. So that involves, hang drying. Last year is what a lot of people did with the hand shucking.
Sure.
And that was the only way that we could get that true 10% or higher material.
Right.
Once you come in with a lot of these combines that are even modified, if your genetics aren't hot, or testing at that like 19% hot for THC, then you combine it, naturally homogenize it, so you're above the 10%. Unless you do something like that, the mechanical harvest right now is just not something that creates a product that's prioritized by the buyers or the labs.
Right.
And so we wanted to not only help farmers get plants in the ground, but to help ensure that they get that 10% or higher, so they not only grow hemp, but they actually get paid sooner than later, have a good taste in their mouth about hemp, spread the word to other farmers, get more farmers online, feel good about our service all the way through the extraction. That's another thing that we offer. We've been blessed to partner with Hemp Extractors of Colorado. Alan Boyd, he's been a huge mentor and father figure in my life, and he was the first extraction facility that I felt truly accommodated the farmer. He was a 30-year farmer himself out of Bloomington, Illinois, and finding that facility when we were going through the farming program, finding a facility we could directly build a relationship with was him at first, just because he had the shucking capabilities. He had the dryers there from IEC. He also utilizes the entire plant, the terpenes, the hydrosol, the stock for fiber, as well as the extracted spent material. And we want to build a long-term relationship with the farmers, and those are some of the things that really help us do that.
Right. What do you do with your spent goods from extraction as far as the hemp?
We distribute to a company that manufactures hemp cigarettes. We have created a blend between the extracted material as well as other material that was lower percentage CBD, just to get the texture right for the cigarette. The extracted spent material is a little bit fine for what we want to put it in. So that's why we formulate products, not only with that, but also the tea-free distillates. We offer custom terpene blends.
Oh, nice.
Because that's one of the byproducts that we extract. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be using it for, like the pet products.
Yeah.
We're going to be launching a horse line here soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. It would kind of get me back to my equine roots a little bit.
Yeah, we manufacture equine.
Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome.
We've been doing that for about a year and a half now.
Awesome.
It's a good segment of the industry.
Yeah, just finding these little niche markets. Right now, everybody and their sister is setting up a lab.
Yeah.
So just doing, little things, or pivoting, creating products that there's not a lot of competition.
Sure.
Combined with getting your GMP, your ISO,
Yep.
Your FDA compliance, be prepared for that for when they do come in with the regulations. Those are the things that are going to set people apart.
Right.
in this space.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a blessing about Panacea, actually, because it's the old EPA building.
Right.
Talking about where does your taxpayer dollar go to?
Right.
You need to come by the place eventually,
Yep.
and you'll see.
Yep.
I mean, it's the redundancy is insane. If they needed one of this, they have 10 of them. It's crazy. But yeah, we're, I would say in about 90 days or so, we're going to start working towards our GMP certification, and then if we have to, we're position ourselves for FDA approval as well.
Yeah, they just offer the GMP here in the United States. I think they opened it up like 3 months ago. A guy named Stephen Newell, who's started to become a pretty good friend of the Plug Supply, he got the European GMP certification before to have that extra certification here in the States, but now they offered it 3 months ago. So I think we have people taking classes here in Golden today for that GMP certification. So
yeah, our facility's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys relocated from
Louisville.
Yeah. And when I originally when I was the horseshoer selling those 25 kilos weekly, meeting up with Jamie over
Right.
at the Louisville facility was one of my first stops. And I think I handed him a brochure. So this is like a nice little like full circle moment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
How many scars from being kicked by horses?
Luckily, I haven't got kicked.
Really?
Yeah, no, I really, a lot of the horses, or the guy that taught me how to shoe horses, he had to deal with some hard to deal with horses. And so he taught me a lot of methods and a lot of preventative maintenance techniques to make sure that would never happen. So that's been a blessing.
That is.
But I do have a nail scar in my left calf, as well as a horseshoe nail in my left thigh. Just from having the horse's hoof underneath, putting the nail in, and then them freaking out, and the nail got stuck in my leg. But I did finish the jobs though.
Nice.
The client gave me a beer, got that down, and got the job done. So.
Yeah, good. Good.
But yeah, it's just this whole cannabis industry. There's it's kind of been an analogy to the horseshoeing world. It's been hard work, and it's been a hard journey, and we definitely have some battle scars. But again, I'm very thankful to be working with the team that I'm working with. They've been a huge blessing.
How big is your team?
Right now, I mean, we got myself, we got Jasmine, we got Spaniel, we got Alex. Alex has been a huge blessing. Coming in from Wisconsin, I actually went to high school with him.
Really nice.
And then last summer, I bought a diamond ring from him because that's the business that he was in. And what sold me on that was not only was he from the hometown, but his publicist got his jewelry on a country singer at the CMAs.
Oh, nice.
I was like, all right, done. I'm gonna buy from this guy. And at that time, he's like, well, what? You buying this ring? He's like, you're not doing this on a horseshoe salary, so what are you doing? So him and I started talking more regularly. He set up a sales team in Wisconsin and crushed it and brought on 200 leads. And so we wanted to set up the Midwest to, not only because I think the Midwest is going to do very well this year, but to give myself and him an excuse to work, in the area that we grew up in.
Nice.
Have an excuse to go visit mom more often.
Oh, fantastic.
So he's been a huge blessing. We just brought on Christian, who's going to be huge for our CRM development and project management. We got Laura. She's been a believer in us ever since the beginning. She used to do management of my website and do a little bit of marketing here and there for me. From when this was just all a vision.
Sure.
So she's been great. We also have Lane, who's been awesome at just the logistical part of everything, making sure shipments get out. We just brought on Thad as well to help with the shipments. Who else do we have? Well, we have Tony. Tony's a beast down at the Propagation Facility.
I've been there. That's where I met you, right?
Oh,
north
no.
of here?
No, that was our other guy.
Okay.
That was our other partners. Guys from All American.
Just north of Regis.
Yep. We brought him in from one of the largest medical marijuana facilities in Florida. Nice. And we found this facility. It was last minute. The reason why we got the facility is because we had a couple of our farmers in the Midwest. They had placed orders for transplanters, and their bank said that they were going to fund the seedlings, which are quite a bit more compared to seeds. Sure. Well, all of a sudden they backed out last minute, and so we set up this propagation facility so that we could we'll just charge you for the seeds in the trays, right? And then we'll just take a percentage out the back end to cover the rest, so that you can still get your plants in the ground this year. Smart. So we thought it was turnkey. There's been a lot of hiccups along the way that we're still trying to address, but he's been handling it very well, and I'm very excited to see what he does this year, along with one of our partners, James Miller. He's going to start developing some really cool stuff. We're doing a bunch of R&D on being able to lower the THC and raise the CBD to help with risk mitigation for the smokable flower, because I feel like that's probably the biggest risk right now is selling smokable flower, because there could be one of those buds that might test hot, and then all of a sudden you're selling marijuana. Sure. We're also doing some R&D on the plant spacing and just collecting all this data. I talked about Christian coming on to develop our CRM, and having this data all the way from seed to consumer product is going to be huge, because then we can start nailing down our environment, our soil types, our fertigation program. We can test a product, and all of a sudden that product helps people more than others. Well, then we can look back at all the data as far as why that actually happened. Sure. From farming, extraction, all the way to the consumer product. Nice. So I would say right now, we probably have about 12 members of the plug supply. And then with our partner facility down in Colorado Springs, 75,000 square feet at full capacity, they're going to be doing about 22,000 pounds a day.
That's unbelievable.
I know they got 28 people down there. Yeah. And then I think we got probably about under Tony at the Propagation Facility, another 5. So we got a pretty big team, and everybody's doing a great job. It's really exciting, but there's obviously when you're launching something, there's a lot of like hiccups and hoops you have to jump through, and everybody's been handling it very well. So,
Smokeable Flower, you mentioned. I had somebody call me last week from a different state that is new to. It's one of the states where people are selling a lot of smokable flower. It doesn't seem to be a big thing in Colorado, but what is that? Is that market sketchy or what? How big of a risk is it when you're sending out these?
Well, it's just like right now, it's hard to get, if your biomass does not have fan leaves in it, especially after last year, there's a really high chance it's going to be hot for THC. And it might not be this bud or it might not be this one, but all it takes is one of those. And then all of a sudden you're selling marijuana. Yeah. So
you're distributing it across state lines, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. They could really whack you if they wanted.
Exactly.
If you got caught hot.
Exactly.
I saw a pack of cigarettes or hemp cigarettes on Facebook a couple weeks ago. It's a THC free, and I'm like, oh my God, it's impossible.
What we weren't working on cigarettes, but in 2017, we spent some quality time and a little bit of money trying to make hemp dip, like smokeless tobacco, to the point where we had the brand Scofflaw Hemp Dip. It was awesome. And like when NASCAR, when they took the logo off the hood, I tried to let them. I was like, well, how about Scofflaw Hemp Dip? Because we had the graphics done.
Say that 10 times real fast.
Yeah. But what we were going to do is get spent or like post extraction flower that's hopefully just a little lifeless. I don't know, just some sort of plant material that we can attach then, or that we can put onto that, like CBD isolate.
Yep.
And that's, mixed up with wintergreen and liquid smoke flavor, stuff like that. And turned out okay. I mean, we screwed around with it, but so maybe you could get THC free hemp cigarettes by doing that. And you said that hemp cigarette manufacturers are some of the buyers of post-extraction.
And I know a lot of these pet companies, like the equine feed and stuff like that. We have a hammer mill as well as a pelletizing equipment for
do you
that
really?
purpose. Oh, wow. Yeah, and like I said, we're outside of just the CBD, which a lot of these labs, they're like, hey, we're going to pay you this per percentage point. I feel like that's truly selling the farmer short. Of utilizing the entire plant and maximizing their profits so they can scale with you next year. So that's why the terpenes, the stock for fiber, spent material, as well as the hydrosol left over, if you can market those products for the farmer as well to get them real happy, then they're going to continue with you for years to come. And then you can actually start scaling your model. Right now, a lot of these labs, it's turn and burn, right? Yeah. So they're promised this farmer the world this year, say sorry, then move on to the next. So, we're just trying to bring peace of mind to the farmer, because if they do a split deal with us, we can make them more money, but a lot of them are gun shy because of everybody turning and burning them.
Yeah.
So 1,000-pound efficiency test run, you drop off your material, we run 1,000 pounds, we can do it real quick. We want the farmer to be there so that he knows exactly what we got out of it. So then we can start guaranteeing, hey, Farmer Joe, we can guarantee you that you're going to be getting this amount of products worth of money. And we already have the byproducts markets established. And then what that does is alleviates our capital so that we can start providing seeds and genetics at no cost for next year is our goal.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Tell us about hydrosol.
So hydrosol is a leftover byproduct. It's clear liquid that's left over from the terpene extraction. And it's known to be used in the skin and beauty care markets. That's what hemp's, that lotion. That was popular for a lot of years, decades now. Sure. Actually, before it even became federally legal, they were using hydrosol. So we're going to be doing some R&D with it as a natural organic pesticide, hemp derived.
Nice.
So,
What do you think the CBG market is going to do this year?
I'm curious to see how many actual like CBG genetics were released. I know the Crawford brothers are over at Oregon CBD. They do a great job. They are, pioneers, especially in the genetic side, along with, guys like HGH Seeds. Guys
Shout
like,
out to them, by the way. I was playing Dub Conscious at the beginning of this show. Adrian Zelski, HGH.
Oh yeah,
Seeds.
no, Adrian, he's real good. He was actually the guy that when I started the Plug Supply as a greenhouse and grow supplies company 3 years ago, or two and a half, 420 on the block party. He was the guy and the promoter that I set up my little booth. It was probably the worst booth ever. I got a banner like last minute that I made on Vistaprint.
We've all done
Was that the
that.
cold one?
Huh?
Was that at the cold where it was like freezing rain?
It was at the
420?
what's Temple now, but it was the old City Hall.
Okay.
And I was
Okay,
right up
yeah.
on top stage, right next to the DJ, and I had the worst booth there. But we had probably the most people there because we had a joint rolling contest, and we were giving away the joint.
Yeah.
So one of my first leads that I ever got, the first lead I ever got was a gentleman named Kevin Stevens, who now came back around full circle and has been doing a lot of great work with us.
Oh, nice.
He does a lot of consulting. He sets up farms on the East Coast, and we're looking forward to working a little more closely with him this year.
Fantastic.
Water soluble isolate.
Yep.
Are you guys working on that?
We've been manufacturing it for a while now. We're really focused on the sonification and the nanotechnology.
That's what we did. Yeah.
So right now we are manufacturing the nano distillate, which we're really excited about, and it's already formulated to be able to be added into products.
Nano distillate.
Yep.
So about how much CBD would be in the nano distillate?
What, in a liter?
Is it a powder?
No. So the nano distillate is actually a liquid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's ready for formulation. I think right now it ranges anywhere from 8 to 20% when it's ready for formulation.
Sure.
But our tea-free distillate right now with the nanotechnology, if we were without the nanotechnology, is right around, let's say 85% to 96%.
Nice.
But
really nice.
We want to offer a custom tailored order, not only on the CBD percentage, but the CBG, the CBN,
Sure.
CBC, and new phytocannabinoids, because I think that's going to be another huge thing, is people going out there and figuring out what the exact blends are of these broad spectrum recipes to nail it down to, what these specific blends will actually do and how much more they'll help for each ailment.
Sure.
So, yep, it's it's very exciting times. Right now, it's like you identify a problem or you run into an obstacle and you try to solve the problem, and you're kind of setting, trying to set new standards, for the industry as a whole, just moving forward.
Got to be limber in this industry. Pivot,
Yeah.
pivot.
Exactly.
Pothole, boom, pivot.
Exactly.
You have to.
Yeah. The water soluble, it was pretty popular here a little while back. People still use it, but I feel confident that the broad spectrum nano distillate is going to be a very hot commodity, and it's because everybody's getting bored with just the CBD. Right now we're finding out about these other phytocannabinoids. So again, back to what I was saying about what's the exact blend. That's the data, getting that data and doing the clinical trials, and we're really excited. We just put a deposit down on some Amgen flash chromatography equipment. There's a lot of people, right now that are asking to remediate the THC, and that was an issue too. It's like, well, we know that it goes from biomass to crude, it's automatically hot for THC, and then it gets even hotter when you go into distillate.
Sure.
But you're under the same roof, so I think there's some gray areas there.
No, you're all right. As long as you don't sell that.
You're right.
Yeah.
But then what is the rule for somebody bringing distillate over to our facility, and then us running that?
In state, it's cool.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Out of state, no, you're taking.
Right.
Yeah, you can have the man at your door.
I heard So you were the one who asked the question at the meeting with CDPHE and CDA, and I think it was Garrett Graff from Hoban was kind of leading it and asked the question about hot distillate, basically. And what I heard them say is, as long as you guys are both regulated by CDPHE and it's all
In
then
state.
it's in state, then you're okay.
Well, every
we
CBD
couldn't do. None of us could make anything if it wasn't.
No, every extractor has hot stuff in their facility, in their lab. Every one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
And I think it's another huge year for somebody to really help educate law enforcement and government. Going to the Department of Ags and showing how to take a properly homogenized samples, because they're out there taking the top 2 inches of the colas, not really giving the farmers a fair shot, because that's not the actual product that we're getting as extractors, right? Unless you're in the smokable flower market, right? But educating law enforcement, they're in a hot seat right now because it looks like marijuana, smells like marijuana. If they don't,
the dog thinks it's marijuana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The roadside microscope test thinks it's marijuana.
Yeah, we had 20,000 pounds seized in Oklahoma. That Oklahoma seizure, that was
I heard
ours.
about that.
Yeah. The dog said it was marijuana, and then the microscope test.
Yeah. But I mean, if there's some sort of system with like Department of Ag and law enforcement interlooped, something to where there's like a Department of Ag truck that you have to transport in and it's locked, or I don't know, just something to give the farmers peace of mind, as well as CBD business owners. So we had to go through the seizures. We
had a security truck following the semi. The truck had camera surveillance all through it and around it, and they still try to say that the guys took out 18,000 pounds of hemp and put in 18,000 pounds of marijuana to ship it to Colorado. Yeah. Now I understand that way, not this way.
Yeah,
it was just stupid.
We're good.
Yeah,
we're good. So whatever, did you guys ever get that back? Or?
Still sitting there.
Okay.
They're in talks, but still, now, what's the degradation of the product? How's it been? Is it out?
Damages.
There's a lot of things going on right now with that.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's the Wild West out there, and that, they're just, as we go along here, we'll set up more structure, and, people are financial guys or, crop insurance, bankers. They always want like an exact number. What does this do? Well, the problem is we don't have the data. This is official year 1 in my eyes, and but as we move along here, the next 10 years, I can't even imagine where this is going to go. And people ask me all the time, what do you foresee the longevity of this whole thing? And I feel, it could be one of two things. It could be the FDA comes in and the government and really cracks down on some things to prevent, a lot of people from being in the space. I think a lot of it's going to come down with the certifications, like the GMP, ISO, FDA compliance issues. That those people are going to stay in, but there's also the other possibility of, if we compare it to THC, it was like a 3 to 5 year race. Here in Colorado before it got super saturated. If we compare it to that space, it's different with hemp because there's how many different cannabinoids and how many different phytocannabinoids compared to THC, just being narrowed down to one or generalized as one. So there's a possibility it could be a 3 to 5 year stretch for each phytocannabinoid.
Absolutely. Not only that, as far as CBD or hemp, usually you can ship that anywhere in the world. If it meets certain criteria, not being hot, the country or state allowing full spectrum products instead of tea-free. But I think it overshadows marijuana, I think, tremendously in the future.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So when you set up a farm, can we go over the economics of setting up a farm? You work with a farm that's like a minimum size. I'm trying to remember from what I read on your FAQs, but what I'd like to get down to is the current math of planting an acre of hemp and getting money back out of an acre of hemp. So to plant an acre of hemp, how much does it cost as a farmer to get that crop in the ground?
Okay, so it really depends on the if you're going to go the seed route or the seedling or clone route, if you're $1 per seed, in comparison, you're at about $3.50 to $5 per clone or seedling. We're recommending planting 2,500 per acre if you hit the June 1st deadline to really maximize the space. It was really popular to plant like 1,700 to 2,000 plants an acre last year, and I think there was just excess acreage that could have been utilized to help ensure that the farmer gets that minimum of 2,000 pounds an acre.
2,000 pounds an acre is what you're going for.
That's we had farmers that hit 4,000 pounds an acre, but it was more common as a median for the 2,000, I would say, and a lot of farmers that did 1,500 to 2,000 plants last year. It was an accomplishment to do the 2,000 pounds an acre. That's a dried biomass weight.
Sure.
So back to what you were saying with the pricing, you're looking at probably, when it's all said and done, you're looking at about $10,000 an acre, all the way up to $15,000, 20 absolute max, and that's if you're not cutting corners on anything and you're doing everything exactly right. And that 20,000 per acre would also include your labor costs throughout the year, roughly. It all depends. There's so many different situations. Sure. And there's so many variables, but 10 to 20,000 is a good numbers to work with. And that includes the drip line and the plastic, which is probably the preferable way to farm this plant. People that get by in the Midwest not irrigating land, that was a new experience for us this year because they get by with the unirrigated acres. However, you want to make sure that you have a plan B in case you were to go through a drought.
Yeah.
To be able to hit these plants to prevent them from stressing out and hermaphroditing and pollinating your field. So that's one of the main reasons why irrigation, I feel like, is a necessity with this product, even if you don't have to run it the majority of the year, just sure. to have it there. When you're doing the center pivots and the crop circles, you're not going to be doing the drip line of plastic. It doesn't work very well,
right.
With that. So with that, and depending on your planting date, we're recommending doubling the plants per acre for the crop circles, just for weed mitigation.
Right.
When you're harvesting the plant individually, you don't have to. Weed mitigation really is just for preventing the weeds from absorbing the nutrients from
right.
Your hemp plants. So it's not as much of a pain. It's a real big pain for people that are coming in with combines.
Yeah.
So weed mitigation as well as the male remediation process. You got that 20,000 an acre also includes the labor to cover that, because during the second week of August, you got to make sure that you go in there. You got to walk past the same ground multiple days in a row, just because if a male shows up that second week of August, like that first day, and you pull that, you might have walked by some plants that didn't show sex yet. So you got to make sure you walk through that same area, which is a pain, right. which is takes a huge labor.
You have to look at every single plant.
Yeah. Oh well. They'll start to show pretty obvious signs.
Like what?
You don't have to. Well, just like the pollen sacs
mm-hmm.
Compared to the flower starting on a female, the pollen sacs are on the males. With our feminized seed breeders, HGH, EcoGen, they did great this year too. Crawford Brothers do great. You're still going to get a few males, per.
Sure.
I think it's like one male per 2,500 plants. But just to take an extra measure to ensure your success of your farmed product, and to ensure the highest CBD percentage, you want to make sure that you take that extra step to go through there and get all those out. And so that's been, the issue of how many acres do you do? Do you do 10? Do you do 100? It'd be a lot harder to remediate all the males on a 100-acre project compared to a 10. And a lot of people just look at, especially these spreadsheet guys, are just like, oh, 10 acres, that's nothing. But 10 acres of hemp is it's a lot of hemp.
People don't realize, they just don't realize how much 5 acres is.
Yeah.
Can you imagine these lone hemp plants in an acre that the one male is like, yes, yeah. And then his day just takes a serious turn for the worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you grow feminized seeds? Aren't they from a male plant or no?
Yeah, there's some proprietary methods. Some people use the colloidal silver. Other people take the reverted pollen, that they feminize, and then make sure that they hit it in a controlled environment. When people tell me they're doing feminized seed projects outdoors, it's very hard to feel confident in,
Right.
just because of the not being able to control the environment and make sure that each plant gets pollinated properly. Like I said, there's some proprietary methods that are added in with that, but like I said, it's taken from a male reverted pollen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was just wondering.
Yeah,
I'm still wondering. I have to Google a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah.
I've never known really what that meant.
Yeah. But it's really important.
Yeah.
You can have a, you don't want 15 acres of males.
Well, that's why, last year everybody's running. I mean, even this year, because of all the failed fields.
Sure.
There's a huge surplus of unfeminized seed, and there's all these people running around these Ziploc baggies, and even people with websites and that have a brand. People that are at these conventions, they don't really care if it's feminized or not, and they're only making their money there. Where we make our money on the whole process, especially in extraction into the distribution. Sure. And so we need the farmer to grow the best possible product. It adds our skin in the game with it. So all the seeds that we produce or distribute are from, in my opinion, the most vetted sources in the world. Last year, we had some issues. We were on some other farms. We bought some seeds from reputable sources. Mm-hmm. They turned out to be unfeminized, and luckily we're so multifaceted that we could make it right to these farmers, even after disaster struck. But we never want to go through that again. And so
the seeds the unfeminized seeds went straight into the ground, or you grew seedlings and then planted them?
We didn't find out to harvest if they're unfeminized or not, and so to avoid that issue, I mean, even right now, this is official year one. A lot of these breeders have been working on it for years, but one out of a bunch, they'll still have some fields that might have some issues. And that's just the best that we're at right now. And people have the biggest misconception of, oh, hey, we'll buy clones. We're guaranteed females no matter what. But they don't realize that in the marijuana world it works because we're in controlled environments. We can baby each plant. But in this world, we are in huge commercial size acreages. Sure. And we can't control and we can't make sure that every single plant gets that individual care, especially once you start talking 100 plus acres. Yeah. And you're going to get hermaphroditic plants, which means clone or seed or seedling, feminized seedling, you're still going to have to go out there and take that extra step for the male remediation process just to make sure that you get any hermaphroditic plants or males.
Has nobody invented a robot for that yet?
They have these drones that can, spot via infrared. The male produces more heat.
Really?
So, remember how I said you have to walk through these patches? Yeah. Instead of wasting your time walking through a patch that might not have any, these drones can kind of pinpoint your labor force.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Next, they'll be armed. That's what I want. I've been talking about that. I want to make a robot called He Who Walks Between the Rows. And it's either using some sort of sound waves or fire or a cool looking blade and just kill the males.
There you go.
But not only do you have to kill them, you have to get them out of the acre really quick, I'm sure.
Yeah,
drone helicopters come in.
Yeah,
that could turn into an iRobot situation real quick, though.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with that. I don't know if you guys follow up on Elon Musk and his AI talks, but that stuff's kind of mind blowing to me.
Yeah, Elon Musk shares my view that I think we're a computer simulation.
Okay.
I think we're an avatar. I think somebody's playing us.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a character.
You never know.
He's one of the first people who I heard suggest that. Started thinking about it. I wouldn't doubt it.
So clothes. The plug supply's getting into hemp clothes?
Yeah, we're working with a company called Chieftain.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they do a really good job on the hemp clothing, and we started to see a huge influx of orders through our website. Nice. And we're like, well, hey, what's going on here? Where'd this money come from? Oh, it came from our clothing line. Then we went to the National Hemp Expo, and we completely sold out of clothes, I think, like on the first day.
Really?
And so, especially during the summer months, through July, August, September, those months last year were kind of hard for us. And I think it's going to be similar right now or this year if you're not willing to pivot, because of all the biomass being sucked up by these extraction labs, the prices of things going up. It's a harder market to sell in, so we're trying to create other outlets to make sure that this amazing team that I brought on, to make sure that we can cover payroll during our downtime if everything were to go to shit like it did last year.
Yeah.
So our clothing line, outside of the tea-free distillate, we are also launching our retail brand called Heal CBD, HEAL.
Nice.
And we're going to start promoting that here in the future as well. We have a patent pending on the combination of nicotine and CBD.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought of that is we can have a 6 milligram nicotine cartridge combined with the CBD, and then you can go down to the 3 milligram nicotine with the CBD, and eventually just the CBD. And then we're also doing it with the tobacco-less pouches.
Nice.
For people that chew, just to help wean them off. And I selfishly created it for myself when I smoke cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been dealing with a lot of manufacturing delays. Everybody's just super busy in the space, and the only real way to get anything done, I feel like, is vertical integration.
Sure.
And so I know my partner Alan, he's getting quotes right now for the equipment to manufacture. We're still looking for a white label partner for the time being until we can maybe get that dialed in. But we're real excited to have control from the seeds all the way through the retail consumer product. Just so we can collect all the data from it primarily, and be able to ensure lead times. Right now we got to start offering our farming services and our custom tailored farming plans, and we've had more demand than we expected, and our team's really good at handling it, but we're still trying to get our SOPs dialed in to make sure that this influx that we can handle more properly going into the future.
Sure.
So
nice.
Apologize to all you guys out there that bought seeds from us and might have experienced some delays, but we're working on fine-tuning that.
Any real company out there, especially growing at the rate you guys are, there's always those issues, till you get it all streamlined out.
Yep. So there's a lot of learning curves and a lot of trial and error that went along into this for sure. So it's taken about 6 years in the cannabis space in general, and going through all the heartaches and all the moves that where you got scammed and stuff like that. We've suffered a lot of that together, and I'm really excited, especially after we weathered that together, what we're going to be able to accomplish in the future.
So do you guys use IES extraction?
Yeah, we're actually a showcase facility for them. They do, I think, multiple open houses in our facility monthly.
Yeah, we have them with us as well. A twin 120, so it's 240 liters. Yeah.
Oh no. So isolate. So I'm not. Oh, the
IES.
Okay, I thought you were talking about ICS.
Oh no.
No. So I started distributing the IES after I started selling the greenhouses and grow equipment. We don't have that in our facility. All of ours is all custom fabricated here in the United States.
Nice.
My partner Alan has he shares the IP on the custom fabrication of that equipment with our partner company, and one of the benefits of that is we're cranking out like 73 to 80% winterized and decarb crude to closed loop ethanol system. Our next closest competitor is like 65% crude.
Right.
And then our latest machine that does 10,000 pounds a day, it goes from biomass straight into the distillate. And then we're creating a module now.
That's the best right there.
Yeah, just like turnkey.
Yeah. I just think you're going to, I don't know. I don't think a lot of CBD manufacturers, are going to continue using crude into their products. Just crude. I don't know. You know, mixing it with MCT oil, put it out there. You know, I see a lot of people doing what Panacea and you're doing, as far as getting into the chromatography and doing combinations to elements. You know, stripping out the CB and CBG and actually doing tests. Panacea was on nightly news, local channel 2, I think it was, last Friday night. We did a study with the college up in Boulder. Which one's that?
CU Boulder.
That's it. See, I'm not from South Florida. CU Boulder. It was a good thing, you know. So yeah.
So with that fancy new machine that you've got, can you create CBD isolate that has zero, absolutely no THC in it whatsoever? Absolutely none.
Yeah, to my knowledge. You know, we have our own in-house testing as well as third party. Yeah. Full panels, everything.
I got to send a sample off to, or I got to send a bottle of lotion.
It shouldn't have any THC if it's real isolate.
No, but all right. So where we're at with NASCAR, real quick, is we have to send this bottle of lotion to a lab in Utah where they test like athletes' urine, basically.
Right.
It's and the lab test is $1,000 to test for THC, and if it comes back with any THC in it, then I've just blown $1,000 because NASCAR won't let us do this. It's all a bust, right? And so the product, the CBD that went into it, is 0% THC,
right?
And then we mix it in a product, and that comes out, we get it tested 0% THC. But I talked to the director of this lab yesterday, and he said he's tested 80 products and he's had 0 products come back that actually had CBD in them and that actually had 0 THC in them. And I just talked in circles.
What do you mean it had no CBD in it as well?
Well, he's tested supposed CBD products that claimed to have CBD that had no or no CBD in them. And they also had no THC because they had no nothing in them.
Yeah.
Right. But ours do have CBD. Right. And the question is, I wonder, it's $1,000 gamble, because do these machines that these guys use out in Utah to test urine, do they go out like 2 more decimal places or something, as far as the parts per quadrillion or something like that?
Well, that's
it's
the thing right now.
Big gamble.
Like I was telling you before, a lot of facilities, they test their parts per million,
right?
And we've taken in product to Botanicor, altitude, and we'll get that 0.00 THC, and then we'll take it to a facility where they test parts per billion, and it'll still show up like 0.117.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So there's right now we're trying to do some R&D on, does that testing it at parts per billion, does it actually, testing at the 0.117, does that show up for THC within your system, compared to the parts per million tests, to see if these parts per million tests are even worth going by. Because if you all of a sudden put this wholesale product into a retail consumer product, and it goes out there and it's still showing up for THC and you're making claims, so then you're liable for damages and stuff like that. It'd be really nice to be able to create a product, especially for these people that get drug tested at work, and stuff like that. People on probation that have issues with opioids or other drug addiction issues. If we could provide this product to those type of people without putting them at risk, I feel like is going to be the key. So that's a good question. Right now that's the only data that I have, but it's worth doing some more research on to narrow that down.
And unfortunately, add to that, every testing facility, they use different testing machines. The variables out there are ridiculous. Even the same bud cut in half, take it to Botanicor, you'll have 2 results. It's just crazy. And then altitude, you can take the same bud to altitude, they're going to be different. It's just, there's no standardization right now.
Right. Just, with the same thing with like the law enforcement, if they could just like structure some uniformity, for some sort of system to bring peace of mind to them, some uniformity to all the Department of Agriculture's, as far as taking the same test, so that it's not different going into each state.
Right.
But also, uniformity on on that subject, on the testing facilities, like this is the testing facility equipment that we use to start getting that consistency between testing facility A and testing facility B. I think is really important, because we do the same thing. We'll take in the product to one place and it'll be 9 points lower in the second place. I'm like, that's quite a variance. You know, like we're advertising this product at, you know, 89% CBD and this one says 80. Like, so which one is right? You know? So
I don't know. It's a big gamble. This whole testing thing. I don't know if either of you guys listened to the FDA testimony, or the testimony before the FDA last Friday. Went on all day long, and I think there were like 60 people who
got
their 5 minutes of fun. There were some people that I just want to strangle there, but testing was definitely discussed a lot. But everybody who's like, hi, I'm from the AAA, and I think that all hemp businesses should be regulated by the National Automobile Association.
No one said that.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'd want to strangle them too.
Everybody who is compliant with any sort of standards definitely made a point to tell the FDA that everybody should be regulated by that set of standards. But regulation is without a doubt coming.
And it's needed. It really is. You know, to a point. I'm not talking about over-regulation, but, you know, I love the CBD industry. And there's people in this industry that are shitting it up really bad. You know, they deserve to do time. They're actually selling products on shelves that have 0 CBD in it. You know, they should be arrested. You know, 100%. You know, we don't need that in our industry. We need to get rid of that element. You know, and I think, you know, some rules and regulations that are coming forth, you know, sometime at the end of this year and next year, we'll start eliminating those characters. You know, because we work really hard. I know you work real hard. We work really hard. You guys work really hard, you know, to put out whatever we do, the best product that we possibly can. And you got people out there just ripping and roaring, turning and burning, and giving everybody a black eye.
We just printed our first successful QR codes that tie into our system. Because, like, we track all our, what you were talking about with just being able to track from the seed all the way up through the, you know, the consumer product. We're able to track everything just from the point that we receive it. And we just got our QR codes going. But it made me, so I think that right now, like, the QR codes are just going to go to like the COAs. But the next step is going to be a page that shows a picture of the product and links to every different lab test associated with that. With, you know, which got me thinking. On Friday, a lot of people brought up heavy metals and they brought up glyphosate, which I think are both really big deals. But I don't understand why. I think that the FDA should regulate regular oatmeal the same way that they regulate CBD infused oatmeal. So if I get in a bunch of oatmeal in this place and I add CBD to it and they regulate that, the FDA does, I don't think it ought to have heavy metal in it no matter what I add to it. I don't think it should have lead in it. So it seems like the FDA is going to make us adhere to standards, but that maybe everybody should have to adhere to. Like, I don't want my Cheetos to have lead in them, but it seems like it's not a big deal until you add CBD to your Cheetos that they're gonna start, you know, making stuff be free of glyphosate, whatever.
That's Roundup, right?
Yeah.
That's in everything now, almost, unfortunately.
Wonder how that bear stock price is doing right now. I'd short them down to $5. I'm telling you, I look at that stock chart every couple of days.
They suck. So does TCF Bank, right? He hates TCF Bank.
TCF Bank, I heard they went out of business.
No, they're not.
They definitely hate small business owners. They definitely hate small business owners.
And of course, he doesn't mean that literally. We need errors and omission insurance for our show now.
Well, okay, here. How's this? Correction. TCF Bank cancels your bank account without notice, and they're jerks about, you know, what follows after that.
But they gave you money back, right?
Yeah.
Someone else got shut down, and they seized the money right now.
Oh wow.
That happened to me with last year with U.S. Bank.
Really?
They seized money for a while, and then eventually they just gave us a cashier's check and said we can no longer bank with you. They couldn't give us a reason why, and so yeah, we moved on. But I know Bank of the West right now, they are offering hemp accounts. There's a bank called ICS Bank that we're thinking about working with out of California. The founder,
ICS?
Yeah, the founder of ICS is also the founder of GoDaddy, Mark Denson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I've heard about them, ICS, because the GoDaddy connection.
Yep.
Do you know any jokes?
What, is it time up now?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
To buy CBD isolate.
Or to broker a deal.
Facilitate a relationship. No brokering. Facilitating relationships and cultivating those for repeat business.
Why did the libertarian chicken cross the road? I don't have to answer your questions. Am I being detained?
Oh, goodness.
Do you believe in Sasquatch?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever seen Sasquatch or Sasquatch activity?
I don't know I mean, it depends what your definition is. There's this group on Facebook. It's called like the Wook group. A lot of our members play it, and it's like a guy that might have like dreadlocks or be like really big or look really haggard looking. You take a picture of them and then you post on their Facebook page, bagged and tagged, and released back into the wild.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's my closest experience with a Sasquatch, I guess.
Awesome.
What about Mr. Air Force guy? UFOs.
I've seen a giant black triangle flew over my house when I was in 8th grade. That's why I went to the Air Force to find out what that was. I still don't know what it was.
Oh, it was UFO.
It's still unidentified to me, at least.
I think a lot of them that we see are ours, but I believe there's a lot of real ones out there. Huh?
I think that the triangle was one of ours because it had a little armada flying with it. It had right after it flew over our house, this propeller plane flew up and turned a spotlight on us and did like a 60-degree turn around my front yard and shined the spotlight on us so that we couldn't get a picture of the triangle. So they had a lot of Air Force helps. I think it was
the asteroid in Russia. Did you see this? I know we're digressing. It is what it is. The one that hit Russia last year. I think it was last year. But if you pulled it up, you can see something following it and shooting a missile.
I've seen that.
And the rock exploding, breaking up into several pieces instead of the one.
I've seen that.
That definitely was no Russian and was no American that did that.
Wow.
But you never know. I wonder if they have CBD on their planet. Marijuana on their planet. Smoking or ganja and the UFO. Let's hit it.
One of our speaking of that, one of our partners, James Miller, he got really connected when he worked with a group called Sancell with the University of Texas as well as NASA, and they have just inquired about having a lunch and coming down to our facility. They're like in love with James, and so they're looking into getting his ideas and input on how to like grow cannabis on the space station, because they are going to be doing that.
Awesome. You think so?
Yeah, they are. They confirmed it. So.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so that was interesting. Now that we're talking about outer space,
yeah.
There's got to be UFOs out there. There's got to be other.
Yeah.
I feel like life on other planets if our universe is so infinite.
Yeah, definitely.
Unless we're a video game. Great show. Thank you, Brad Menard from the Plug Supply.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much.
And as always, thank you,
Great show.
Michael, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care, guys.